Hey everybody, welcome to Modifying and Editing Objects Part 2. I'm going to continue on looking at the Offset tool, which is in the Basic Tool set here. So I'm going to highlight an object that I wish to offset and activate the Offset tool. And I'm going to look at the Duplicate and Offset mode. You guys can look at some of the other modes. This is the most useful one. I need to set the distance, so I can do that here or in the preferences. And I want to duplicate and offset. And let's have our duplication be 5 inches. So with my object highlighted, I can offset the inside of the object. So I move my cursor anywhere inside the object and click once, and I get an offset to the inside. If I move my cursor to the outside of a selected object, I'm going to select this one again and choose the offset tool. I get an object offset on the outside, and because of stacking order, this has hidden my original object. Remember how objects are placed one on top of the other, but that's a great way to make offsets, and it'll offset any polyline or polygon. So I'm going to choose the offset tool and take a look at that. So that's pretty cool tool. The next tool I want to look at is a clip tool, and this is another great tool to use to create sort of irregular or unusual shapes. The clip tool is this tool right here. Nope, I'm sorry, it's the little eraser is the clip tool right here. And it allows you, there are 3 different modes. This one removes the area inside a marquee. This one removes outside the marquee, and this splits at the boundary of the marquee, and you see there are 3 marquee shapes. Let me show you how it works. So remove the inside mode. So I'm going to highlight an object and choose the trim tool, and I'm going to choose a rectangular marquee. I'm going to draw a marquee, and when I release, so I've clicked once and I can move my marquee around. I click a second time and that removes the area inside the marquee. If I want to choose a different shape marquee, for instance a circle, same thing. I have my object highlighted. I click once, I create the marquee. I click a second time, and there you go, I've clipped it. If I want to remove area outside a marquee from the selected object, I can now draw my marquee, and anything on the outside has been removed. So it's a nice way to make inside and outside curves and make weird shapes. Rather than just trying to draw this as a polyline, start with a rectangle and then just sort of nibble away different parts that you want until you get the shape that you want. Lastly, this one's kind of cool. You split the object at the marquee boundary. I'm going to choose this marquee, and I'll draw kind of a weird shape marquee. I'm just kind of clicking through here. Last click sets it, and you can see now I've got 3 separate objects split at my marquee boundary. 1, 2, 3. So a lot of times when you're drawing objects in C.A.D, don't think about trying to add things onto an object. Think about trying to take things away from an object, or overlapping objects or intersecting objects and creating the shape that you want. It's oftentimes faster and much more accurate. Another modifying and editing command I want to look at now is the join command. The next couple of commands we're going to look at are all in the modify menu. So I go to modify and I scroll down here, we have join. So I'm just going to throw a couple of lines out here, and they don't necessarily need to touch, I believe. And I highlight both lines that I wish to join, go up to modify, choose join, and I've joined them. And notice that it's trimmed the line. So even though they haven't intersected, here's one, I'm going to highlight, that one and this one. Let's see if that'll work. Go up to join, and it fills in the lines. So this is also a pretty quick way to make a shape if you're just throwing lines out. Put one more line on here. If I want to have a fillet in the corner, I can choose modify, join. Oops, notice I'm not able to use the command unless I have at least 2 lines modified, lines highlighted. So I go up to join, and this time I'm going to choose join and fillet. And there's my fillet. And if you want to change that fillet radius, you can do it with the fillet tool. You have to go back and reset the preferences. Or you can do it in the 2D reshape tool. You would highlight the 2D reshape tool and set your fillet settings there. So that's pretty slick. Another way of creating objects out of lines and arcs and stuff is using the compose. So we've talked a lot about wanting to draw with objects because you can modify them and edit them and give them fills and attributes, and they're much easier to deal with than just a bunch of lines. So say I have a bunch of lines and I want to create an object. I highlight them all, go up to modify, choose compose. Now, the interesting thing with compose, and the thing you have to be careful about, is that the endpoints of the objects have to touch. If they don't touch, they'll be ignored. So when I drew these, it looked like my points were touching, but only these were. So let me try that again. I'm going to make sure I've snapped to an endpoint, and I've snapped to endpoints. Let me see if that works now. So I'm going to highlight them all, go up to modify, and choose compose. And now I have one object, a polygon. So now I can edit this and give it a fill. If I want to return this object to its components, I keep it highlighted and I go up and I can choose decompose. So be careful when you're using compose that all of your objects have to be touching at the endpoints, otherwise they're ignored by the command. That is it for this screencast. I'm going to finish up modifying and editing in a final screencast.